morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I just want to go into a little flow and kind of see where it takes us. I have so many synchronicities I could pop in and share. So I'll just go into a little light language and a little kind of energy share, I suppose, a little in-car flow. I get a lot of downloads and activations when I drive. And here we go. As you look around, as you see what is around you, as you allow yourself to pull into, to flow into, to spill into, if you will, I'm hearing the cup that runneth over. That which allows you to feel the fullness of what it is that you are experiencing, expressing, unfolding from, folding into, laughter, freedom. You allow yourself to feel more of that, which is igniting your true flame. I'm hearing igniting the flame of independence. I'm also hearing we become less codependent. We become less dependent upon something that is no longer fitting our code. Our code of, and I'm hearing fill in the blanks. So I'm hearing code of honor. Now that's a play on words. And that may be something I'll play with at another time. Play with. We begin to take ourselves less seriously, and we begin to redirect our frequency to that which directs us to a higher frequency. And I'm seeing more frequently a higher vibration on a more frequent tone, but I'm also seeing on a more frequent, like, we change our tone and then we tune in, and when you tone something, you make it, well, I'm seeing it make it more fluid, yet at the same time stronger. And I'm seeing that as a play on words with a couple of different things here. We invite you to utilize all areas, plays on words, arenas, and tune into the ability to see the multifaceted point of view. The many different facets, the many different abilities to see into many different points of view, many perspectives, if you will. All right, I may run out of room, you guys, so I'm just ripping it, letting it flow this morning because that's what I was in the mood to do. And I was writing yesterday. My friend Kandice and I had the wonderful opportunity to do a video, an inflow video yesterday on Sunday, our synchro sistar flow, and I noticed a huge heart opening at the end. A heart, like, granted we were in flow the whole time, but towards the end we set our intention to really connect with the energies and with Mother Earth, and dropped into a completely different frequency. And what I'm being shown is we can utilize all of these different perspectives, whoever we're working with and speaking with, and I'm hearing relationshiping with. So that was a big theme, I think, for me yesterday, for my friend Jess, for Kandice, was the ship, right? Steering our ship. And Dan Winter would say steering our tornado. And this would be centripetal force. And this would be the center of the rose that Kandice did her video on, that she was seeing. It's smelling the sweetness of life, the nectar of life, the ability to hone in on our inner hum. And she also did a whole video on the hummingbird. That was kind of her I don't know if she pulled a card or if it was just what she was seeing, but if you look at what a hummingbird does, it looks chaotic because its wings are going so fast, but it's completely still at the same time. And that is another example of the centripetal force. It's us finding our stillness, our calm at the center of the storm, stopping to smell the flowers, having our ability to find laughter. All of these are our superpowers from one perspective. For once we tune in to these certain energies, it allows us to change the directive. It allows us to hone in on our own home signature. That allows us to pick up on the signals that are being sent out and to us, from us. So it's that ping, that sonar system. We're pinging back to us. And our environment then pings back to us to help us understand what it is we're tuning into. And this comes back to tuning on message, on a tuning fork. We begin to open to a deeper ability to see through the mechanisms, the many mechanisms and divisive schemes from one perspective that have been put in motion to change our directive. That's a big play on words. We begin to then direct our flow into a deeper, into. So we come out of into and we dive back into the oneness. And I'm seeing this kind of as a theme because it gives us the ability to see from two different perspectives. So I'm talking about multiple things right now. Seeing things from multiple dimensions, seeing things from a multifaceted framework. So we might be able to see this and we might be able to see that. And we see it from two or more different perspectives. And I drew this on a whiteboard yesterday. I'll have to do a video on this maybe later today, but I'll stay in flow right now. So this allows us to bring those perspectives back into unification and wholeness without needing to split ourselves in many different directions. This allows us to become the steerer, play on words. So I'm seeing that when we stare, look ahead, when we look straight, we straighten ourselves out. We bring ourselves into a straight line. This is a play on words. So I'm seeing that it's not always going to be a straight line, but when we look ahead, we can see and then use our peripheries when I'm being shown to see the sidelines, yet to stay with our intended purpose and focus on what is in front of us. So I'm seeing this be a play on words. Yesterday I pulled the card smoke signals, which in the native traditions represents our intent. And in yoga, in order to stay balanced, or pretty much just in order to practice balanced exercises, they call it a drishti point. Your gazing point. And I'm seeing this as our directive. Our perspective is what is guiding our ship. Our perspective is our directive. So if we can see from multiple perspectives, yet we can still stay within that centeredness and that calm gathering, if you will, of our energy, of our internal forces, it allows us to direct our ship. So there are beings, there are stories, there are things that are being, let's say, created, and I'm hearing processing, over-processing. I'm seeing like processed foods that pull us in many different directions. Yet if we can see from all angles and we can point our direction, I'm seeing a pointer, our guidance beam, we can beam ourselves forward into a deeper place of recognition. And as we come into this deeper place of recognition, we recognize the patterns that are essentially pulling us off track. And when I say off track, there's so many different things that come through, because it's okay for us to see all of the things that are going on and to be able to see things and go, oh, I see things from this perspective, all angles. Yet that is not necessarily the most advantageous, play on words, point of view or perspective that is going to keep me moving forward, if that makes sense. This is a diversion tactic. Oh boy, you go into so many different flows here. So there's lots of diversion, and I'm hearing divisive diversion tactics to change the verse, diversive, to dice up the verses, to take us out of our own harmonization and book of life, if you will, and pull us into another, what I'm hearing is flavorful script. So I could talk about this for a moment. It is, sometimes it feels more exciting or spicy or delicious because many are addicted to the proverbial proverb that was preordained or pre-written, because that's what they've been feeding. So I'm seeing this as a play on words, and I kind of went into a different tangent here, and it's a little bit us versus them, but this is the whole point, bringing it back to what I was saying in the beginning. So there's this dialogue that we're being pulled to repeat, to parrot, the parody, to repeat and to parrot someone else's parody or book, which then fills their empty pages, and I'm hearing empty coffers. Big plays on words here. Yet we are being invited to cough it up. And that makes me think of John Coffey. We're being invited to coffee it up. You guys, that's what I always joke around with my energy work sometimes. When we do energy work on ourselves, we pull out a lot of the stuff that's stuck inside of us. We can cough it up. We don't have to hang on to it. We don't have to hang on so tightly to certain words or stories that we've been told to believe. We're being invited to energetically coffee it up and fill our own coffers. And this is a play on words. I could probably look up the word coffer and see where that came from. And then I see this pulling it back to our own coffers are the cup that runneth over. So we don't have to necessarily keep coughing up value for something that is no longer our value system. And I'm seeing something that I'm seeing as the center. Literally, I'm seeing something right now that is a bank. It looks like a ping, like pinging off of it, our center. So, and I'm hearing like empty coffers. Like when you drop something in an empty cup, it's like, it sounds empty. It has a ring to it. Oh boy, I just went into such crazy flow right now. But I'll bring it back in. So as we center ourselves and we recognize that we are no longer needed to divide ourselves into these divisive schematics, we go back to the drawing board, and so do those, I'm hearing us versus them, that seek to line their coffers with our program. So it's like, I see people being handed a program, and then they sit down and they follow that program, and then they, it's just an old program that's been overused. And some of us are feeling used up, if you will, from paying so much attention, play on words. And I'm hearing to these dime bag schemes. So, this is funny. So I think that, so I'm happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. So what I'm seeing is that people are paying for this because they're addicted to it. And this is not just people in general. This is an addiction to a particular story, a temporary high, a temporary need for speed, a temporary high that isn't sustainable. It isn't fulfillable unless another dime comes along. So it's like this need for the adrenaline rush, and I'm hearing adrenaline junkies. This need for constant fabrication of stories so that we constantly have something to pay attention to. And this comes back into paying attention to our inner bandwidth. So if we're always, and I've said this so many times and I'll say it again, my guides are constantly saying it in a different way. But essentially it's diversion that's dividing us. So we're really being invited to come back into our own synchronicity, sinking into our own ways of interpreting our own inner, gosh, there's so much. And you guys, right now, I'm running out of time on my phone, so I just want to share. I'm going to keep it going until the wheels fall off. Hey, part of what's happening is there's so much that's coming in right now from again, this is something that Kandice and I spoke about, the universal love. I'm just a love machine. There is an energy that is literally pouring in right now. It's coming up from the earth. Someone who was honing in on our live the other day mentioned if everybody focused their attention to earth and this universal love came into earth, it would heal the earth. And I said, yes, absolutely. If we all focus that intent into the earth, it would help to repair some of the ley lines. It would help to create, sorry, I don't know if that's been really loud, but it would help to create some of the frequencies of love. But on the flip side, that from another perspective, Mother Earth is already healed, and she's already offering us that energy that we're constantly sending back and forth. So from one perspective, that's another example of us being distracted, and so distracted that we're not connecting to our roots. We're not connecting to our family, which are the elements, right? Our elements: fire, water, earth. We're not connecting to our true soul family, because, and this isn't, you guys, I'm saying this in flow. This doesn't mean this is what you're doing personally, but this is what a lot of people are doing. They're allowing this diversion, what my guides are calling it, diversion schematics. And again, bring it all back into seeing it from multiple perspectives. So I see it and I recognize the multiple directives that are being put out there to gather my attention, to gather my intention. And this comes back to what I was saying at the beginning when I was in flow. My intention and my directive, my drishti point. What am I looking at? What am I looking towards? Am I continually being pulled to look at something, and then am I continually being told how to view what I should be feeling as I view this particular deviation? Because the deviation isn't pure. What we're being shown isn't the pure truth. It's not. Whatever that story is, it's been directed by a director telling us a story, and many different stories are being pumped out into the mainstream, if you will, to deviate us from a higher consciousness. And I'm again doing us and them, but let's see that from another perspective. And a higher perspective is, it doesn't matter, because we're ultimately, once we go into that centripetal force, the rose, the holy grail, the cup that overfloweth, we come back into a place of pure abundance. We can feel the energy that is literally reverberating up from the earth right now, the energy coming in from the sun. the solar in fluctuations. We can feel it tickle our senses. And part of why this is happening right now, we just had the full moon, we just had the equinox, we've had solar flare activity, we've had Schumann resonance, which is connected to all of these things. Our consciousness is expanding. And so the more we see this pull, but we stay focused with our smoke signals, our intention, our drishti point, and we see all of it, but we don't lose our focus, the more help from one perspective we receive, the more moments of receiving we feel. Because what happens sometimes is we shut down to being open to all of those things when we have this intent focus on something that isn't lining us up energetically with the other streams that are coming in. Does that make sense? And so we're really being invited to tune back into our physical, emotional, causal, etheric, all of our bodies, all of our layers. How am I feeling? What am I paying attention to? And ask questions. Those are questions we should be asking ourselves moment to moment throughout the day. How is this story making me feel? What's going on behind the narrative that is being offered or directed at me, telling me what I should be feeling, making me feel this or that? Nothing's making us feel anyway. That's up to us. But we understand there's a lot pulling at our heartstrings right now. So I've been directing my intention and my focus on the heart-centered awareness and rippling that out into the plasma field that is around me, beneath me, above me. And I send it out like these streamers, filaments. And I feel into almost like it's breaking through a mold, right? It's breaking through this membrane, this barrier. And I just send it through the waves, and I send it to the water. I send it to my fellow humans who may be going through something that I can't be there physically to assist with, but I can intentionally energize. I ask for certain things, but then I recognize that the universe might have something better lined up. So I try to ask for things that are more neutral, like love, joy, peace, bliss, health and well-being, abundance, rather than asking for a particular outcome to present it, or I'll ask for an outcome to present itself to a particular story that makes me feel sad. And I ask for the universe to provide an answer so that we can be more expansive, so that we can all feel more joy and bliss, so that we can feel love. And so because I recognize that I'm seeing from multiple perspectives, but it doesn't mean that I'm seeing from all perspectives. There may be something that the universe has lined up that I know nothing about, that I can't feel into because I'm emotionally triggered or processing my own things. And it's having that trust and faith that the universe is going to assist me with whatever I need or better. So I keep asking for that as well. My friend Kat was kind of showing me that one. Bring me something or better, this or better. So I'm going to end on this note. Recognizing that as we stay in this space of human compassion, we steer our ship in the direction of more compassion, freedom, joy, bliss. Working our way through, I'm hearing the swamps, but this is the inner swamps of judgment,